Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbana zidna ilma. Allahumma faqihna fid din. Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafi'a wa rizqan tayyiba wa amalan mutaqabbala. Ameen ya rabbal alameen. So here we are with our session number 17 for our basic Nahw and Sarf. And today we are going to start fragments, inshallah, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Can you all see these letters on my slide? Alhamdulillah. So most of us are able to learn a good bit about ism. And today we are going to move on to a fragment. And since we are taking one step forward and we are rising a little bit from where we were. So, inshallah, we are going to start with the name of Allah, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and going to start with our fragments, which is more than an ism, but more than a word, but less than a sentence, right? So, when you see something like kind king, what do you think? Is it more than one word? What do you think about a kind king? More than a word, but is it a full sentence? Does it convey a complete thought? No, it's more than a word, but it's still less than a sentence. When I talk about a big house, what do you think? Is it more than a word? It is more than a word, but less than a sentence, which is what a fragment is, right? More than a word, less than a sentence. Under the tree, does it convey a complete thought? Is it a full sentence? What do you think? It is a phrase or it is a fragment. It's more than a word, but less than a sentence. In the previous 16 sessions, what were we focusing on? Were we focusing on just one word? Yes or no? What do you think? We were just focusing on an ism. And an ism is a kalima, which is just one word, right? Now, what we are going to learn? We are going to move on and we are going to learn more than a word but less than a sentence. So we have taken one step forward, alhamdulillah, bi'iznillahi ta'ala. And if you continue to work hard, you are going to master fragment as well, just as most of you have mastered the ism. Okay. The Arabic term used for a fragment is going to be مركب ناقص. What is the Arabic term for a fragment? It is مركب ناقص. Mim ra kaf ba مركب ناقص. Does that answer your question, Sister Farah? And let me just put it on my slide as well. So here I can put it down. The term for مركب ناقص. Okay, you can see that, right? Inshallah. Everyone can see and they can put in their note. The Arabic term for a fragment is going to be مركب ناقص. And ناقص is something which is incomplete, right? And something which is incomplete can be called naqis. Okay, keep that in mind, inshallah. So the fragment is formed when two or more words come together but don't form a complete thought. It does not convey a complete meaning. Fragment can be a relationship between two isms. So here, kind king. Kind, what do you think is a word kind? If I asked you to put it under the umbrella of an ism, fail, or harf, where will you put word kind? It's an adjective, so it's going to be an ism, right? And what about king? Is it an ism as well? Right? So a fragment can be between two isms. When you see in the house, is in an ism? Can you put it under the category of an ism? No, it's a harf. So sometimes a fragment can be a relationship between two isms, like a kind king, a big house, and sometimes it can be a relationship between a harf and an ism, like we see here under the tree, in the house. Is this clear to all of you? So 3 important facts that you need to take home from this slide. Number 1, we are learning a fragment which is more than a word, less than a sentence. Number 2, fragment is formed when 2 or more words come together, do not form a complete thought, does not convey a complete meaning. A fragment can be a relationship between two isms, or it can be a relationship between a harf and an ism. And then for all of you, if you want to learn what a term fragment in Arabic is going to be, you can put it in your notes, مركب ناقص as well. Are you all with me? There are few fragments that we are going to go over in the next few weeks, inshallah, in our course, in the next few sessions. They are al-jar wal-majroor, idafa, nasab mansoob, mawsoof was-sifa, murakkab atf, ism ishara wal-musharun ilayhi. Okay? You don't need to get stressed over the terms, the Arabic terms at this stage. Okay? The only term from this session that you will learn or memorize is al-jar wal-majroor. Okay? The only thing that I'm expecting you to learn from today's session is the term al-jar wal-majroor, because this is a fragment that we are going to cover in today's session. Okay? Are you all with me so far? A fragment is more than a word, less than a sentence, does not convey a complete thought, and it is a relationship which can be between two isms, or it can be a relationship between a harf and an ism. It is called مركب ناقص in Arabic, alhamdulillah. And now we are going to see what our first fragment is about. Okay? Al-jar wal-majroor. This fragment is made up of 2 parts. The first part is a harf, and the second part is going to be an ism. This fragment, al-jar wal-majroor, is made up of how many parts? It's made up of 2 parts. The first part is a harf. The first part is a harf. So the first part of al-jar wal-majroor is a harf or an ism. What is an answer? It's going to be a harf, a harf, a harf. The second part is going to be an ism. Okay? The first part is called harf jar or al-jar. The first part of the fragment is called harf jar or harf al-jar. This harf puts the ism following it in jar status. Anyone remembers the 3 reasons for an ism to be in jar status? What were the 3 reasons that we have covered for our ism to be in jar status? Number one was after off. Number 2 was a follower. Number 3, if it is coming after a preposition. So the preposition that is going to make an ism jar, what is going to be the name of that preposition? What will you call that preposition? You are going to give it a name, harf jar. Harf jar, al-jar, or harf al-jar, or harf jar. Harf jar is an easy way to remember this. So remember the harf that makes my ism jar, that is going to change my status of an ism to jar, is going to be called harf jar. The preposition or a harf that makes my ism jar is going to be harf jar. And the ism that is going to come after harf jar is going to be called al-majroor. What is the name of an ism? Majroor. Majroor. You can remember it from word majboor. In Urdu, you may have heard majboor, but it is not majboor, it is majroor, because a harf jar has acted on an ism and made it jar. Everyone got it? So the 2 parts of this fragment are going to be, there are only 2 parts that you need to remember. The first part is going to be a harf or a preposition that is going to make an ism jar after it. Okay? I hope this is clear to all of my students, and I'm going to then move forward. As indicated by name, the status of an ism is jar after it, right? The status of an ism is jar when affected by harf jar. It is just an explanation or another word to put, things, whatever has been mentioned in the previous slide. There is nothing new. Something new that I want you to learn from this very slide is the two parts of this fragment cannot have a long distance relationship. You will notice, can you all see my slide? Okay. I will show you slide number 3, but let me just finish this slide. Remember, this fragment, in this fragment, the two parts of the fragment cannot have long distance relationship. What does it mean? So if B is going to affect ism, they are going to be right next to each other. Is this clear to all of you? They cannot be at a distance from one another. They will be right next to each other. So B, ismi, bismi, lillahi, li, right next to each other. Alayhim, do you notice? The words are right next to each other. Bil ghaib, right next to each other. Lil muttaqina, li, al muttaqina, right next to one another. Bil akhirati, the words are right next to each other. Is this clear to all of you? There is one exception, and I'm going to one exception which we are going to learn at the end. Okay, there is one exception which we are going to learn at the end, but in 99% of cases, harf jar and an ism that is majroor is going to be right next to one another. If you have joined late and you want me to explain again, the best thing is you should go back to the recording. But if you were since the beginning of the session, I am going to, inshallah, repeat everything, inshallah. Okay? So we are learning fragments. Again, we are learning fragments. Fragment is more than a word, less than a sentence, just like a kind king, a big house, under the tree, in the house. Fragment is formed when two or more words come together, but still do not have a complete thought, do not form a complete thought. It does not, the two words together do not convey complete meaning. Fragment can be a relationship between two isms, just like a kind king. A kind is an ism, king is an ism. A big house, big is an ism, house is an ism. So it's a relationship between two isms here. Under the tree is going to be a relationship between a harf and an ism. In the house, a harf and an ism. So fragment can be a relationship between two isms or a harf and an ism. The Arabic term used for a fragment is مركب ناقص. There are following fragments that you are going to learn with me: الجار والمجرور, إضافة, نسب ومنسوب, موصوف والصفة, مركب عطف, اسم إشارة ومشار إليه. Today we have started with الجار والمجرور, which is a fragment made up of two parts, a harf and an ism. Harf jar is the first part of the fragment. The first part of the fragment, which is a harf, is called harf jar or harf al jar. This changes the status of an ism that follows it. What does it do to an ism? What will harf jar do to an ism? It will make it majroor. It will give it a jar status. Make sense? Ism after harf jar is always going to be jar in status. So now let's see here. It is going to affect an ism right after it. Yes, the ism, the question is, will harf jar affect only the immediate word after it? Absolutely. This is how I want you to learn, and this is the right way of learning. Bismi is going to be, the word ismi is jar because of B here. Can you all see that? Lillahi is word lafzul jalala is jar because of li before lafzul jalala. Alayhim. Is this a word or there are two words? Alayhim. How many words are there? there are two words. Anyone and should be able to type this. Allah is one word. Him is your, what is him? What kind of a word is him? I wanted you to review pronouns before coming to the session. Who was able to see and look at the pronouns? If you have gone over the slides shared with you on pronouns, type 1 now. Okay, Alhamdulillah. So him is a pronoun and Allah is a preposition which is going to make him what in status? It's making him majroor. It is changing the status of him, hum to jar. Why is it jar? Because of Allah. Because of Allah. If I asked you what's the status of home in this fragment, you are going to tell me it is jar and status because of Allah before it. Bil ghaibi. What made al ghaibi jar? Be in the beginning. Lil muttaqina. If I ask you what is the status of al muttaqina in this word? What is the status of al muttaqina? It is jar. If there was no lam there, if there was no lam and we were not talking about jar wal majroor, and if I asked you al muttaqina, what can be the possibility? Very well done, Shehnaz. It can be nasb or jar. But when you are going to, from now onwards, going to see li before al muttaqina, you are going to give me just one answer, and that is the status of al muttaqina is going to be jar. Bil akhirati is going to be, the word is be al akhirati, and the word is jar because of be in the beginning. Okay, everyone got it? Are you all with me? Can we move on to the next slide? Bismillah. Alhamdulillah. So now we are going to go over what are these haruf that we are going to learn for this session. Okay, these are bata, kaf, lam, waw, min, an, fi. Bata, kaf, lam, waw, min, an, fi, ila, ala, hatta. Bata, kaf, lam, waw, min, an, fi, ila, ala, hatta. You will always see your B spelled as ba with a kasra. Your ta is always going to be with a fatha. Your kaf is going to be with a fatha. Okay? Bata, kaf, lam, waw. Yes. Ruqayya, don't confuse yourself at this stage. Just focus on the slide. It can be kaful khitab as well. Focus here, right? You stay on the topic, inshallah, my dear sister. Okay? Yes, it is. It can be a pronoun too. But here we are learning about harf jar. These are your haruf jar. So focus on haruf jar here. Okay? So bata, kaf, lam, waw. Ba is always going to be carrying a kasra. Ta, the ta is a second harf jar that is going to be with a fatha. Kaf harf jar is going to be with a fatha. Then you see li. Li. What are the two possible spellings for li? Li can be with a kasra and li can be with a fatha. When you have two options, lila. Very good job. Memorize the both options. Bata, kaf, lam, waw. Bata, kaf, lam, waw. These are your prepositions. And then comes your waw with a fatha. Okay? Everyone got it? Min, an, fi. Min, an, fi. Ila, ala, hatta. Everyone with me so far? Alhamdulillah. And this is what you need to know. From this slide, make sure you focus. Bata, kaf, lam, waw, min, fi. Min, an, fi, ila, ala, hatta. Why are these two together? Because of the noon at the end. So that you remember, it is easier for you to remember that min and an are both going to be ending with noon sakin. Okay, with, sometimes there may be a fatha on min for iltaqai sakinain, just for tajweed reason. But original spelling of min is going to be mim noon. An is going to be spelled like this. Fi is going to be spelled like this. And ila, ala, hatta are going to be spelled the way they are spelled on this slide when they are standing by themselves. Okay, so there are more than 11, but you, for the purposes of Quranic Arabic grammar, you are only and only going to learn these 11. How many of you have understood this so far? How many possible spellings are there for lam? How many possible spellings are there for lam? Lam can be with a kasra and lam can be with a fatha. Okay? Whatever comes after these 11 particles or prepositions, if you remember your signs of an ism, if you go back to your signs of an ism, what did we learn there? The 3 signs of an ism that were for advanced students, one was the 4 signs, right? And then you went over the 3 other signs of an ism. The one sign was if a word is after harf jar, it's always going to be an ism. Do you all remember? If a word is after harf jar, which is bata, kaf, lam, waw, min, an, fi, ila, ala, hatta, word is going to be an ism. Every time, with few exception, with less than 1% of exceptions, anything that you are going to see after bata, kaf, lam, waw, min, an, fi, ila, ala, hatta, you are going to call it an ism. Is this clear to all of you, my dear students? Alhamdulillah. Okay. So B, ta, kaf, la, lila, wa, min, an, fi, ila, ala, hatta. Can somebody want to unmute themselves and want to recite from memory? Anyone wants to do that? Let me see if anyone is volunteering here and I can hear from them. You can raise your hand and I can unmute you. Afshan, you can unmute yourself and you can recite. And let me hide the slide from you. Okay, Afshan, do I have to unmute? Ask to unmute. Okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sorry, it's Afsana. I'm so sorry. I mispronounced
Yeah,
it.
that's why I didn't unmute.
Oh, so sorry, my dear sister.
Name.
Yeah,
It's
because I have
okay,
so many
Ustaza.
Afshans in my class, so
Yeah.
that's the first name that I go to. My apologies. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay, Ustaza. No need to say it like this.
Yeah. So are you ready?
Yeah, Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. So
Shall I start on the harful zar?
mm-hmm.
Harful zar, letter B, letter lam, which is in the 2 form exist. Lam with fatha,
Mm-hmm.
and the second one is letter waw with fatha,
Mm-hmm.
and letter ta with fatha, letter waw with fatha, and letter kaf. I think kaf is not there.
Kaf is there. It is there. Bata, kaf, lam, waw.
Yeah, bata, kaf, lam, waw.
Mm-hmm.
And there is another words also there.
Yeah.
That is min.
Yeah.
Min, fi,
Yeah.
and I'm
An,
forgetting remaining.
in, an,
And
fi,
in,
and then all the rest are ending with alif, alif, alif.
yes.
Ala,
Inshallah, I will try again.
ila, hatta.
Allah ilah. Yes, Ustaza.
Very well done. Very well done. Very proud of you. And keep on trying, keep on practicing. Inshallah, you will master it. Farah, you can go next.
Jazakallahu khairan.
Ameen Vayyaki, my dear sister. Farah, I have to, I think, ask to unmute. Okay. Okay. Farah, can you unmute yourself?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Ustaza.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Yes, Ustaza, I heard your voice and I learned it. It's Bata, Kaf, Lam, Waw. Lam is with Fatha and with Kasra. And then in the next line it was Man, An, Fi. And the third line it was Ila, Ala, Hatta.
Yeah, it is min. Min is going to be the kasra because man is an ism and this min is a harf. Barakallahu fiki, Farah. Very proud of you. Very proud of both of you, my dear sisters who have courageously volunteered I am very, very proud of you. For the rest of the sisters, inshallah, I'm going to ask you to unmute, and I'm going to ask you to do something else, okay? Inshallah. I'm going to continue from this point onwards. We have a lot to cover in this session, though it seems like a very simple and easy topic, but there is a lot that we are going to learn. My dear sisters, barakallahu fikuma. So bi ta kaf lila wa min anfi ila ala hatta. Very well done. And I am so proud of all of you who are writing and typing, and beautiful job. So now let's learn their meanings, okay? I'm going to now focus on the meaning. Okay. The question, if you, the ism after they are always going to be followed by an ism. That is what I want you to know. Okay. Ba ta kaf lam waw min an fi ila ala hata. They are going to be followed by an ism with a very, with a very small exception that we are going to learn at the end. First, you need to know what you are going to see in 99% of the cases, and the 1% of a case we are going to go over at the end of the session, inshallah. Okay, so be can mean with, in, I swear by. Okay, you can take an oath by using this be. Ta is used to make an oath. It is used to take an oath. Allah, and what is specific about this word ta is, anytime does Allah take an oath by himself only in Quran? What do you think? For those of you who have gone over Quran very many times, what do you think? Is every oath that you see in Quran by Allah? No. Yes. So there are many times Allah is going to take an oath by the time of an asr, or by sky, or by the sun, washams, or by the night, right? You have seen very many oaths. But what is specific to this harf jar is that I want you all to know is, by using this tool, by using this harf jar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to take an oath by himself. Okay? Tallahi. The only ism that comes after ta is going to be lafzul jalala. Will you all remember this? Used only with the name of Allah. If I ask you in the test, harf jar ta, what do you expect after this ta? What is the answer? I want everyone to type. You can at least type this answer, that any time when ta is there, lafzul jalala or name of Allah is going to be following this letter ta, this harf ta, which is one of the harf jar. What will be the status of lafzul jalala after ta? It is going to be always jar, right? Because ta is harf jar. So anytime you have this word, you are going to be seeing tallahi, right? Then comes your kaf, which is to make a comparison, or it usually is going to be translated with a word of English like. What is the meaning of kaf? Like, okay? The purpose is to make comparison, to compare something with something else, right? But the translation that you are going to expect with letter ka, or with this harf jar kaf, is going to be like. Kamisli, like an example. Okay, so keep that in mind. Li or la is going to be mostly translated as for. It is used for possession. Waw is a tool by which an oath is taken. Waw is a tool of an oath. Wallahi, by Allah. When I say wallahi, what does it mean? Everyone, please type an answer. Type an answer so I know you are understanding. Okay? Wallahi, by Allah. By Allah. And what is it? What is the connotation? I swear by Allah, right? When a word min is going to be there, most of the time it's going to be translated as from. Min is going to be translated as from, and can be translated as about or away from. About or away from. Ila is translated as to or towards. Ala is going to be translated as on, upon, against. And the last one which is hatta, is going to be translated as until. Everyone got it? Or this is very hard to remember? So your today's job is going to be, you are going to be memorizing the meanings. Okay, I want you to focus on these three: alba, alwaw, atta. Alba, alwaw, atta. You can take an oath by using these three, right? Ba, wauta, la uqsimu bihazal balad. And you can see on my translation here, I swear by this city. And the city was referring to the city of Makkah. Allah took an oath by Makkah, right? Wal asri, wal asri, by the time. Salma, we are going to go over kaf. You are going to see very many examples, inshallah. Okay? Wal asri, right? Ba is always going to be with a kasra. Yes. Wal asri, by the time. When you have atta, tallahi, tallahi, always going to be followed by lafzul jalala. This harf, jar, ta is going to be, what is special about ta is Allah only takes an oath by himself when he uses this ta. So if I ask you, which is the strongest oath? Is wallahi, tallahi, or billahi? The strongest one is going to be tallahi. Okay, keep that in mind. Tallahi is the strongest tool of an oath, and keep that in mind. From 11, there are 3 that, and the ba has other usages as well, but it can be used to as a tool of an oath, where we can take an oath by using harjar ba. What is the status of word after it? Be haza. If I ask you, give me the status of haza, what is an answer? It is jar, 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 because it is following harf jar. What is going to be coming after harf jar is an ism that is going to be majroor. Ism that is going to be al majroor, and this haza is majroor because of be. So this is, no matter, because haza is one of those words that's non-flexible. So here, if I ask you, what is the status of haza? The answer is simple. Be is always going to make whatever comes after it jar. So the status of haza here is jar. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Is this clear? Yeah, there are 2 words in this fragment. Harf jar and an ism that is majroor. There are other examples of an oath from Quran, just for out of interest. If somebody wants to go over them, make sure you go over them and understand them. Okay, I will take your question. Is it okay, Farah, if I take the question at the end? Because I need to finish some of the stuff so that we are all on the same page, and inshallah, so we can learn and maximally benefit from these 45 minutes, inshallah. So, wal adiyati. If I ask you what type of a word this al adiyati is it a singular or a plural, or is it dual? What is the number of the word? So number 1, this is a feminine word, ati, ati. It's a feminine word, and it is a feminine sound, plural. Very well done. And here, if I ask you, what is the status of the word now? What is the status of the word? It is jar in status. Wal asri. It's going to be, we already went over it, by the time of asr. Wattini, by the fig, right? So it is going to be, you can see it is jar in status because of wow, and Allah is taking an oath by fig, right? Wadduha, it is by the time by the forenoon. So ad-duha, if I ask you the status of ad-duha, is there any confusion? Though it is ending with this alif, and you have not learned about the alif yet, and you are going to learn about this alif in a later session, as I promised you, that you are not going to just plainly call it non-flexible or this and that. No, we are going to, this alif, we are going to go over this alif, inshallah, in our upcoming session. But just by the presence of wow before it, Can you tell me the status now? Can you figure out the status? It is jar, it is jar, it is jar. Bihaza, we already covered. Washamsi is self-explanatory. Walayli is easy. The word is jar, just like that. Tallahi, we already covered it, right? If I ask you, if I show you the Muslim table and I bring anything like B here, any harf jar, which row should I focus on? What will be my word looking like? Will it be like Muslimun or Musliman or Muslimin? The last row. I have to, just as I bolded for you, you must know that if there is a bata kaf lam waw, min fi, min an fi, ila ala hatta, the last row is going to be how my word is going to be looking like. If it's a singular, it's going to be ending with kasra, kasratain, kasra or kasratain. If it is a dual, it's going to be ending with ya noon or maybe just with ya. If it is a plural word, it is again going to be ending with ya noon. And how am I going to distinguish between a dual and a plural? How will I distinguish between a dual or a plural? The dual has ya madiyya, which means the ya sakin has a letter with a fatha before. Ya sakin has a letter with a fatha before in a dual. But when my word is jar and is a plural, the ya is a sign of jar, but a letter before ya is carrying a kasra. Ya madiyya is there. Everyone got it? Is this hard? So far, everyone is with me? Alhamdulillah. Now look at your Muslimatun table. When you look at your Muslimatun table, you are going to forget about the first two rows, and again you are going to focus if there is anything like bata kaflam waw, min an fi ila ala hatta. Your word is going to be either looking like Muslimatin or Muslimataini or Muslimatin. Muslimatin. Is this clear? And sometimes the words may be with single kasra, or a word may be dropping its noon as well. Word can be light as well. Okay, now that we have covered light and heavy, word may be light. Okay, and if a word is light, like a word Muslimataini, if word is light, what will be the sign of jar status in that case? Give me one letter only. If Muslimataini is light, what will be the sign of jar status in that case? Ya, ya, ya. Okay, ya linea. Again, ya is linea in case of dual. Ya linea is going to be the sign of dual in this case. Okay, and if Muslimatin is light, it's going to be just carrying one kasra, and if Muslimatin is light, it's again going to be carrying one kasra. Will this stay with you? Is this clear so far? Everything, alhamdulillah, making sense? Okay. Now you have your fully flexible words and your singular and your sound plurals and your broken plurals. This is a table that you're going to refer to how they are going to look like. If these are all the examples from Quran. Okay, these are all the examples from Quran. Fi kabadin, fi plus kabad. So how will it spell like? Fi kabadin. The word is jar in status. And what is this combination going to be called now? Fi kabadin. What will you call it? Al jar wal majroor, right? Jar wal majroor, right? Al jar wal majroor. Al jar wal majroor, right? Al jar, which is harf jar fi, and majroor is kabadin, right? Bil akhirati is B, and al akhirati. Lil muttaqina. What are we seeing here? How many words are there? If I asked you how many words, there are two words. There is a li and al muttaqina, right? And remember, I will add it in your slides as well. Whenever li attaches itself to an ism that has al, whenever harf jar li attaches to an ism that has al, do you know what happens to that al? Can anyone tell me? And you can cheat from the slide as well. How is li al-muttaqina different from lil muttaqina? Hamza gets dropped. It is Hamza, right? When you can, alif is never going to be in the beginning. Alif is not ever going to be in the beginning of the word. If a word can be al-muttaqina or al-akhirah, it's going to be a Hamza. Hamza is only going to be in the beginning, and this Hamza has a name that Afsha is typing here, Hamzatul Wasl. Hamzatul Wasl gets dropped every time when harf jar li attaches itself to a word that has al in the beginning. Hamzatul Wasl gets dropped. Hamzatul Wasl of al gets dropped. So here in lil muttaqina, do you see Hamzatul Wasl? What is missing? Hamzatul Wasl is missing. Will you all remember this? And we can Hamza gets dropped with li. Okay, and inshallah you will find that in your slides. Okay, in Hamza, in al. Okay, is this clear? So whenever you are going to review your slides, everything is going to be in there. So bi mu'minina, how many words? How many words are there? Bi mu'minina, there are two words. One is bi and mu'minina. What could be the status of mu'minina? It can be, if I don't have B before it, now you know that this is only and only jar because we are learning harf jar. It is majroor here. But what could be the two possibilities? It could be nasb or jar, right? It could be nasb or jar. But now that you have B attached to it, what is the status now? There is only and only one answer, which is because of B, my mu'minina is jar in status. Fi zulumatin. If you were given this word zulumatin, it could be nasb or jar. But whenever you are going to see fi before it, what is an answer? It is jar in status. Mina shahidina. Is there, if I just show you this word, ash-shahidina. Ash-shahidina. What is, without any min? Without any min. What is the status? It could be nasb or jar. It could be nasb or jar. But when min is attached, it is now only jar in status because min is one of the harf jar. What is happening to this min here? Do you notice this min is different from the min that we learned on the slide? Do you see anything different in this min? Why is this fatha there on the min? It is for the tajweed. Yes, two sakins came together. So for tajweed, for iltaqai sakinain, to join the min, the sakin got changed into a fatha. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Okay. And I'm going to again add, for those of you who are still learning, and all of us are learning at this stage. I'm expecting everyone is learning here. So we can just add here fatha for joining. Okay. And I'm going to add in Arabic iltaqai sakinain. I have not yet learned how to type Arabic yet. Okay, just like that. Okay, is this clear? Min is going to be sakin, or when I'm separating it, I can keep it sakin. But why is this carrying a fatha? Because of iltaqai sakinain, right? Fi jannatin. Jannatin is jar in status because of fi. Bismi. Bismi. Sometimes this in Bismillah, the Hamza gets dropped. In Bismillahi, Hamza gets dropped. But in rest of the Quran, if there is something like Bismi Rabbik, then Hamza stays and you can see a word like Bismi written. Okay. Bil Yomi, Jar wal Majroor, Kaddihan, Kaddihani, like Addihan, right? Ala araiki. Araiki. The singular for this word is al-arika. So what kind of a word is al-ara'ik? If arika is a singular for this word, yes, upon sofa, it's a broken plural. It's a broken plural. So broken plural is looking like just like a singular, and it is carrying a kasra. Ahwahi is a broken plural for famun. So ahwahi is a broken plural again, and it is carrying a kasra. Azan, shaitan, shayateen, qulub, absar are examples of broken plural. They are examples of broken plural, and with harjar, you are noticing that all these words are carrying a kasra. Is this clear to all of you? Because all of these words became jar because of harjar before. Alhamdulillah. Now, let's shift the gears. Now we have to move for. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Our time is up and I have to end the session here. We are going to learn in the next upcoming session on Saturday what happens to a word which is partly flexible when harjar comes before it. And I'm very much looking forward to that session, and I hope you all will revise your partly flexible and flexibility as a whole and will be able to answer me very well, inshallah. So with that, I will end the session. I will take the questions now. Amin Vayaki. So Sister Farah had a question and Sister Fariha had a question. Okay. So Sister, you can unmute yourself. Sister Fariha, do you want to unmute yourself, my dear sister? Oh, no, you can you raise your hand? Can you raise your hand and I can unmute you? Okay, ask to unmute. Now, see. Farah?
Yes, thank you. My question is, I understood all of this session, so thank you very much, Jazakillah khairan. When the word hada or any other word comes after be or after any jar, harf jar, that would be majroor, or the
Always.
word would be called jar, because it was called jar. I thought these harf called jar and the word after these haruf are calling majroor. So that's why I just got a
The
little bit muddled up.
Haza is an ism, right? Haza is an ism. It is a pointer, right? Ism ishara. It is
Yes,
going to be called al-majroor. It is going to be called al-majroor.
al-majroor, and all the words which comes after the harf jar is going to be majroor, but their status can be jar.
All are jar in status. All the isms that are going to come after harf jar are going to be majroor, are going to be jar in status, and are going to be called al-majroor. The
Oh
term,
yeah.
the term that an ism is going to get is going to be al-majroor. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much, Jazakillah khairan. That's answered my question. Thank you.
Fariha, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, my question was when we did the light and heavy, is that different from the light and heavy of Tajweed? That is right.
Light and heavy of Tajweed, yes, it is very different. It is very
Yes, it was just
yeah.
troubling me, so I wanted to clarify that.
No. Priya, if you are a Tajweed expert, so you cannot mix them together because those are mukhaffam and murakkak,
Yes,
right?
mufakham and murakkab, yeah.
Murakkak. So this is not. This is also mukhaffaf and musakkal, but these are because of the presence of noon or not presence of noon. That is a sifa of a word, right? How you pronounce
Yes,
it. That is totally
yes, sifa
different.
of the letters.
Yeah,
Yes,
that is like.
and when Sister Farah just asked about hada, when we say la uqsimu bihadha albalad, we don't put a jar on the hada, right?
We are not going to see the kasra there, but the word.
But we will call it a majroor.
Yeah, it is a majroor.
Okay.
Because it is
Jazakallah.
based on the flexibility you have learned, and we are going to cover that in the next session, inshallah. So everything will be clear, just like we did the fully flexible and your broken plurals and your sound plurals. We are going to go over the partly flexible and non-flexible in the upcoming session. So Sister Huma, you can raise your hand and I can unmute your my dear sister. Sister Huma, can you raise your hand? My dear sister? Asked to unmute. Okay. Huma, I have found you. You can.
I have a question. There is a example you gave, Bihazal Baladi. Is Baladi also because of Bihaza to Ismoja?
I was very clear. If I'm not, I'm going to repeat myself. Harf jar is going to affect an ism right after it. Okay.
So why is Al Baladi also in jar situation?
Yeah, it is jar in status, but it is not because of B. Remember that. And Ruqayya, I am as affects the word right after it. Okay, harf jar right after it. Okay. Is this clear to all of you? Why is baladi jar? We are going to learn it in the next sessions. Okay, inshallah. Harf jar affects the word or an ism right after it. Ism. It should be an ism. Okay.
But you were saying why we were doing Surah Fatiha, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. All of them has kasra.
But we learned why were they carrying a kasra. If you remember, if you go back to the session,
Those were the adjectives.
Yeah, those were the adjectives and were the followers, right? And
Okay.
adjective is one of the follower. So that is why those were jar in status, my dear sister. You have now understood it. Alhamdulillah. Right?
Okay.
So ismi is jar because of B. Allahi is jar because of after of. Bismillahi, name of Allah. Allah is jar because of a word that is after of. Ar-Rahman is jar because it is the sifa of Allah, Lafzul Jalala. Ar-Rahimi is jar because it is a sifa or an adjective being used for Lafzul Jalala. An adjective falls under the umbrella of a follower. So among the three reasons, you find all the three reasons in Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, right? The first one is harf jar, after of. The third one is the follower. So all three are found in Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Okay. I hope this is clear to all of you. Okay. So with yes, please.
Jazakallah.
Ameen Bayaki. So I have to end the session too. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear students. Take care.